Shalom warriors, Shalom Israel partners and Abraham friends, and welcome to Israel. It's so good to bring you this report today. Actually, we're filming today on Wednesday, so things might change, and of course if anything will change until we're going to broadcast this, we'll update you, but we're already understanding what's happening. I would like to speak right away about the Torah portion of this week, because this is the Torah portion of Pikudei. We finished last week with Yakel and we got into Pikudei. This is the last Torah portion of the book of Exodus. And why is it so important? Because the story is that all the last 5 Torah portions until this one are actually dealing with the building of the tabernacle of Moses. This is how important, usually in the Bible, in the Torah, you want to do a parchment, you want to do a little portion, you can say God commanded, Moses told to the people followed up, and that's it, and it was done. But this is dealing with building the tabernacle of Moses, which is the house of God in the desert, and therefore you need 5 Torah portions, almost I would say 1,000 verses to speak about the house of God, to show us how important it is, but not only the importance of the house of God, the story of how they build it, the participation of all of the people of Israel, from the donations, from being recruited to do the job, from partaking in the building, in the sewing of the different materials, in building up all types of different equipments and all kinds of different artifacts that are elements of the tabernacle of God, shows us the participation and how important it is to be part of the people of Israel that take a big part, an active part of building the house of God in the desert. And when this Torah portion is finished, this is where literally we hear about the presence of God landing down, soaring from the heavens and coming down in a form of a cloud and sitting inside on top of this tabernacle of Moses. The presence of God is with the people of Israel, and this is when they understand that it's about time for them to start moving and going forward towards their promised land. Why is it important to us right now, and how can we connect it to what happens in Israel and in the world right now? Right now we're dealing with the situation in the Ukraine, and you can see that almost the entire people of Israel today are literally recruited. The amount of donations and participation and headquarters that people are building to evacuate people that are stuck inside the Ukraine, not only Israelis, not only Jews, but also Gentiles and Christians and people, the Israeli organizations that are working all the year, the non-profits are working all the year to help Jews outside around the world. Now they understand that we are one world, one people, and against the unbelievable and unprecedented aggression of Putin, Israeli organizations, even the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, are getting together, recruited on the borders of the Ukraine, in Romania, in Poland, everywhere around the Ukraine. They sending their long hands, their big arms inside of Ukraine, evacuating and saving lives of people, while this butcher from Moscow is launching rockets and shooting civilians and destroying cities in the Ukraine without any provocation on the Ukrainian side. This man, Putin, that Kim prophesied so much doom and gloom about him, and Kim prophesied that the Lord God of Israel is going to deal with this devil. We see now, just like in the times of the Bible, just like the times that the people of Israel were in the desert, stuck in the desert, yet they understood that there is a national mission, the first national project of the people of Israel to build the house of God, and everyone is recruited. Now we hear the voice of God that talks to each and every organization in Israel to save life, to care about our fellow friends in the Ukraine, and not only the Jews that are there, but everyone who's stuck in Ukraine, refugees Israel is reaching out, sending all kinds of different help, sending all kinds of different equipment, gear that they might need over there, as we are here in the House of Destiny, helping together the IFCJ through Yael Eckstein to reach out to the Jewish people in Ukraine, which needs shelter and needs help. In Israel, almost the entire nation now is recruited to help the refugees and the poor people in the Ukraine. Millions and millions of dollars has been raised already to send as aid to the people that are besieged in the Ukraine and helping them to get out. Yes, the government of Israel is in a very dire situation right now. I would say between the rock and the hard place, because on one side we would like to support the Ukrainian people and their democracy, but on the other hand we are surrounded with so many enemies, and especially in Syria and in Lebanon. And we know that the big boss in Syria is Putin and the Russian army, and therefore Israel cannot provoke the Russians right now, because on the other hand they're letting us deal with the Iranians and with the Hezbollah in Syria, and we cannot really go against them. There's a coordination between the Israeli military and the Russian military in Syria, letting us have a free hand literally to hit anyone who comes against us over there, and therefore Israel cannot stand so vocally against the people of Russia or of course against Putin. But I'm sure, look into my eyes, you know where our heart is. You know that the people of Israel very vocally are standing with the Ukrainian people against this butcher of Moscow. So please keep praying together with us. Keep sowing into our ministry, so we use your funds to help the Jews that are stuck in Ukraine right now. And I'm sure the IFCJ are also reaching out to each and every one who needs help, because in the Jewish shelters that I've seen on the television, anyone who knocks on the door, nobody is asking, are you Jewish, are you Muslim, are you Christian? The doors are open for everyone to come in and to find a way out of the Ukraine if they want to run away. So yes, let's conclude. Israel cannot send arms now. Israel cannot partake in the active war because of the situation in Syria with the Russians, but beyond the veil and in the backstage, we are doing as much as we can in order to try and help the people that are in a very dire situation. We have seen even that the Israeli Prime Minister Bennett was asked both by Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, and by Putin to be a middleman, to try and just send all kinds of messages between the two parties. And we are doing it quietly under the radar, but we are very active in trying to find a resolution to the tough situation in the Ukraine. I love you a lot. Keep sowing into the House of Destiny, and I'll see you soon. Shabbat Shalom, Doobie.
There is a crisis in Ukraine. Our beloved Jewish Ukrainians are under attack. The Jews always come under attack first, and we, like you, love Israel and the Jewish people. Together we are committed to standing with Jews around the world. Zechariah chapter 8. This is what the Lord Almighty says. I will save my people from the countries of the east and the west. I will bring them back to live in Jerusalem. They will be my people, and I will be faithful and righteous to them as their God. Thousands of years ago, the prophet Zechariah saw the time we are living in right now, a time when Jews who had been scattered throughout the earth would be brought back to Jerusalem, miraculously, and dwell once more in the Holy Land with the Holy One of Israel. By partnering with us on this project, you are part of fulfilling ancient prophecy. Every cent donated will go directly to the Ukrainian Jews in need, and together with us, we will be the hands and feet of prophecy in action.